I definitely knew when I was creating some of the black conscious music for the people that it was, I wasn't as popular as the artists that were out there. But I've had cats come to me and be like, man, I ain't rock with your music at first, but then, you know, I started going through different things and man, I really mess with it now. Like I've checked you out. Socially conscious and the complexities of
God, Melanin Goddess that's before me. Hello. Coming up on another act, I sit down with rapper, producer, and actor Common to discuss this new project and why it's always been important for him to address the climate of Black America through his art. Common, you are back with A Beautiful Revolution Part 2. I've read your statement about the inspiration behind this album and how it aligns with today's culture, but where were you and what was on your mind when you first were in the ideation process for this project?
For A Beautiful Revolution Part 2, I was really in an inspired place because I had just come from making Part 1. I kind of wanted to create what would be the next step of like, what else do I have? What do I want to offer now musically? Where am I? Because that's the most important thing for artists is like, where are you? What are you inspired by? What do you feel? Kelly, I was like, really just like in a creative space because I was listening to a lot of music, reading, and I just felt creative and wanted to put something that was hopeful and inspiring out in the atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, I know that we all have endured and experienced and witnessed so much over the last, 15 months or more. And for artists in particular, there have been certain events that have been triggering for you creatively that have gotten you back into the booth. And it sounds like this new album is a direct reflection of what we all have gone through. But was it one thing in particular? Was it the national election? Was it, like you said, the runoffs? Was it George Floyd's murder? Like, what was the thing that made you say, I need to make music to reflect this moment right now?
I think it was going out into the protest myself and just seeing how many people were like caring, like you hear people say things about, you hear chatter about generations and this and that. Man, it was young people out there. They were educating me on different things I didn't know, like who the district attorney was in LA, a Black woman that wasn't actually for us at that point. The point is I was really inspired by the different walks of life that I saw out there too, and just the energy of the people. I felt empowered. I felt their empowerment. In every movement is music that is there. Like the civil rights movement, they were singing, whether they were singing like spirituals or church songs or whatever the songs were. But you had artists like Marvin Gaye, Aretha Franklin, and Nina Simone making music that applied to those times. And I felt like, yeah, this is what I live for. So I had to create this music.
And like you said, we have this generation of musicians who definitely crafted music to reflect what was happening at the time things were happening. But you also, have continued that tradition, and you have always been right on time, I think, with addressing the climate of Black America through your art. It's just been a staple, I think, for who you are as an artist. Talk to me about why that's always been keystone for you, because I can imagine it probably wasn't always easy, especially dealing with labels, to say, no. This is the lane I wanna make music in and I wanna create in.
Kelly, it was really natural coming up in Chicago to like embrace my Blackness and love who I am as a Black young man, and also know that, and also know what is necessary, meaning you see some of the struggles that we're going through, you know our power, you see the beauty in us. This is natural for me to talk about. And hip hop at the time where I first really started listening to it and wanted to become a hip hop artist, it was so socially conscious. I mean, they was introducing me and teaching me things about things I never knew. So when I was speaking on Black consciousness and people, and it wasn't a popular thing, I was just trying to figure out ways to survive and survive as an artist and be able to create. But it was like, this is who I am. This is what, like, I will speak to my truth. That's what I'm gonna do. I definitely knew when I was creating some of the Black conscious music for the people, that it was, I wasn't as popular as the artists that were out there. But I've had cats come to me and be like, man, I ain't rock with your music at first, but then, you know, I started going through different things, and man, I really mess with it now. Like, I've checked you out. So I think, Kelly, it's just, for me, it's been about making sure I'm being really truthful to what I believe great art is, and truthful to what I feel, and what my consciousness is saying. And I care about our people. So I'm gonna speak to it.
Yeah. What was the turning point for you that let you know you were on the right path and sticking to your guns, especially when the labels were giving you that kind of pushback? I mean, right now, hello, an Oscar lets us know that the music is as received, well received as it should be. But for you, what was that measuring stick that at least made you say, this is why I've been so adamant? I'm breathing a sigh of relief because this is why I stuck to this course.
Yeah, it was two things, Kelly. Two things that I think really helped me know.
Mm-hmm.
One day after a show, I had this guy come up to me and he said, man, Common, your song made me decide to have my child. I have a song called Retrospect for Life featuring Lauryn Hill that was about abortion. And I talked about my experience in, having an abortion with my girlfriend at the time, and like how it affected me, but how it was affecting life. And he told me this. He said, man, I was going through it, and I was just listening to that song, and I decided to have my child. And, that struck me because I was like, wow, this is powerful what music can be. Because I was telling my story, and he telling me he decided to have his child. Like, he's brought life into the world for that reason. Like, that hit me. And it let me know the power of what the music, and it actually reinforced and made me be aware that, like, yo, these words mean something, because initially, to be honest, I got into rapping because I just love rap. I love hip hop, and I wanted to say, be dope, and like people to say I'm dope, and I love what it made me feel and my friends feel. But once when I had people come up and say those things, it made me say, oh, this microphone is powerful. Like, these words mean something to people. So use them wisely. I think another thing was that let me know, okay, being conscious ain't such a bad thing, is like when Prince was like, okay, man, I want you to perform at my birthday party with The Time and Erykah Badu. And it was like, man, Prince is giving me some love. This is incredible. Like, this, at his birthday, like he has me, and at one point he used to didn't even mess with rap. So he has me there. Like, it was one of those things where you like, I'm doing something right to be able to be invited to a Prince, at his house at Paisley Park to perform.
Absolutely. What a great moment. That's amazing.
Yeah,
And something that you said a few beats ago is you were talking about the realization of understanding how powerful words are, and the words that you say are, but you are also in a unique category because you have translated the power of words into the power of film and television, to both in front of the camera and behind the camera. Talk to me about that, because a lot of the work that you do feels as intentional as the work that you do as a musician. Talk to me about that.
Like, I love acting as an art form. It's something that I'm just as passionate about it as I am music. Like, I love it. So when I started acting, I was doing it as an artist, just like wanting to get out there as an actor. I think Selma was a turning point for me because it was the first movie that I was a part of that had a social consciousness to it. And it also had Ava DuVernay, a Black woman leading, and I saw a Black woman as the head of costume, a Black man as director of photography, and Bradford Young. Ruth Carter was our head of costume. It was just an experience that I hadn't seen. I was like, wow, this can really happen. Like, we can be employing ourselves. We can be telling these stories that actually mean something, and tell it from our lens, for lack of a better word. And post filming the movie, we talked about so many conscious things in our press junkets. And I was like, man, I need to be a part of films. They got something to say too. And it really just humanizing Black people in many ways, and showing our stories in different ways has been one of the most significant things I've been able to do. But the thing that's the icing on the cake is when I see Black people on the sets. Like when I came to The Chi, the TV show we produced for Showtime with Lena Waithe, when I got home and saw all the people working, like my people working on this movie set, it was like, man, this is one of the greatest things I've ever been a part of. So
Yeah.
storytelling, whether it be through song or through films or through plays and TV shows, it changes people too.
Yeah, we now have been collectively talking about the Black gaze in particular for, like I said, 15 months or so now, especially in the activation that came behind George Floyd's murder and the role that images, TV, and film play in how Black folks are treated, viewed, and so on. Have you noticed, especially as a producer behind the scenes, are conversations in Hollywood shifting? And I'm really thinking in particular, like you said, about The Chi, because it feels like this last season, especially because I know the season before was really happenstance and played into what we were living in real time. But this last season in particular felt very revolutionary, and
Yeah.
adventurous in a lot of ways. So are you noticing as a producer that there are some changes happening?
Oh, I'm noticing big changes. I mean, I think what I've seen is with people like Issa Rae, with people like Barry Jenkins, Spike Lee, Ava DuVernay, Lena, you know, like what Barry Jenkins did with Moonlight was amazing, because so many people had to view Black men in a different way from that alone, and Black people. But I'm saying, to see a young Black gay kid coming from the hood, you can't just look at us the same. And he told the story, and wasn't about like, okay, this is a racial story. He just showed the humanity of who we are and the complexities of who we are.
Mm.
More stories are being in demand like that now, but also be active. Things like Michael B. Jordan saying, on my sets, we got to have this many, Black people and women on the set. Like that type of action really is affecting the industry. And also, we just, as you've seen in the past 15 months, like you can't look at a TV commercial and not see a Black woman on there. Like it's a beautiful thing. And even if they're doing it because they're hopping on the wave, it's still giving us the work, the jobs, and the exposure where the equality has to come and the power has to come, because we are part of successful things. And I think it's up to us to continue to push it though, and like make sure that we are very diligent and consistent and strategize to make sure that the Black artists are heard and continue to be able to tell our stories. So I have seen the progress. I know we got a long way to go, but I'm grateful for the progress.
Yeah. At this point in your career, both as a musician and as an actor, you've graced Grammy stages, Oscar stages, you've collected a couple of little cute baubles to put in the trophy case. How does that change things for you moving forward? Like what is it that has to be presented to you to say, yes, I want to do this TV show, yes, I want to do this film, or yes, I want to participate as a musician as part of this, project?
Kelly, I think I didn't know when we first were getting different awards, what it did create was access. It goes back to that Bible scripture, to whom much is given, much is required. I realized the truth of the matter is that that's for me to be able to elevate others and create access for others more than anything. As much as my ego likes it and I still dig it, and I'm like, cool, it's great. I'm happy when you say, man, an Oscar. But the way I make choices now about it has to be in alignment with what my purpose is, to be honest. If it doesn't align with things that I believe in, I'm not going to do it. Or if it doesn't also align with something that I'm creatively inspired by or that I think is fresh, I'm not going to do it. And I'm only in pursuit of things that I think are the highest level, that are on a vibration that I want to put out in the world.
That all sounds amazing. And that said, what's next for you? Especially as the world is starting to open up a little bit more. I have to imagine with this new album, you want to get it in front of people live and in person. But what's next? What's coming?
Yeah. So the album is A Beautiful Revolution Part 2. So I'll be out performing it, doing different events around it. But I learned from through this pandemic to be very intentional, and it's okay to do 3 things, 4 things. I don't have to do 12, and do them and make sure I give my heart and soul into it. And that's what I did with this album. And so now I'll be promoting this album, but I'm also in a film called Alice, starring Kiki Palmer and myself. It's directed by a young Black woman named Kristen Berlinden, and we scored the film. So I'm excited about that. Scoring is something that when you talk about what I'm doing in the future, scoring is something that I'm very excited to do, because it's kind of the combination of both worlds for me, is music and film. And it's like I get to interpret things in a way like, hey, these actors are in this space, so this is the music we need to create. And it's been a lot of fun to score.
Ooh, I can't wait to listen to
Yeah.
more of your work and films. Common, it is always great talking to you. Thank you so much for doing this today.
Kelly, it's great to talk to you. Have a blessed rest of the week, and it's great to see you.